Hello, YouTube! It is me again, back with another video, and yet again I am coming at you with a flower girl. Now, I did decide to do only one in this video. I have actually gotten 2 of them done this week, but I think it was a little unrealistic of me to assume that I would have the rest of them done by the end of this week, because it's coming up on final season, and I have so much going on, and with Thanksgiving right around the corner, I didn't want to be, kind of not working, because it's not really my job, I'm not paid for it, but I didn't want to be on my computer the whole time of Thanksgiving, so instead I decided I would show you the one that I got done first. If you follow me on Instagram, you actually maybe got a sneak peek of what she looks like, because I ended up actually being really indecisive, shall we say, about her hair color. But we'll get to that later. So this is Kristin Chrysanthemum, and as her name implies, she's based on the chrysanthemum flower. So I always think of chrysanthemums as very just bright and bubbly and just fun, because I think when you think of the color yellow, you always think of like bright and cheerful, and you don't really think of a melancholy person when you think of someone who is just yellow. It's a very cheerful, positive color. But I didn't want to go with a super smiley face, partially because I was having a lot of trouble with her expression. I don't know why, but she was just coming across looking kind of bored or sad, and I think it had to do with the eyebrows, but I think in the end I pulled it together by giving her a little smirk. Which you'll see me doing here, actually right now, and I think it really pulled the face together, and it made her look a little sweet and kind of sly, but in a friendly way, and I think that was fun. One of the things that I find about when I draw faces is that something always tends to be off proportion. So, like, if I'm drawing a face, I'll draw features too small for the head, and I'll have to adjust the size of the head, or if I'm doing a profile, I won't draw the back of the head as large enough, so I'm always having to fix it, which is not great, but it's a thing that you figure out with time. This is actually loosely based on a photo from Pinterest. I don't know who the model is. I will try to find it, but otherwise you can find all of my references that I use on my Pinterest. I don't know that I have it linked, but I'll try to remember to link it. It's Faces to Draw is this pin thing that I have, and there are like over 100 portraits of just people, because I want to draw all different kinds of people, and it's also really interesting to look through and just have different references. So if I want to draw a character, for instance, who I'm trying to kind of suss out what they look like, I can look through the faces and be like, yeah, this looks like something that I could use to kind of base them on, a little bit of a starting point. So that's always fun. That's something I do. Actually, I use like actors. Like, I have a list in Google Drive of actors that I think look like my characters. Or that my characters look like, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But it's always very entertaining. But anyway, this was around the time that I figured out what her name was, and I had a little bit of trouble with her clothes, but I ended up just deciding to go with something very similar to the reference picture, which was this turtleneck sweater with this, like, ruffled neck, because I thought it was cute. And maybe it's not totally in keeping with the sort of summery vibe of the flower, but I really liked it, and I thought it was cute. Don't come at me. I think I'm going to be doing circles in the backgrounds of all of the flower girls, because I just thought it was a really fun touch with Delphine. I think it kind of made it look like its own standalone image, and kind of like a sticker almost. So that was something I thought was really cool, and here I am. I'm outlining the chrysanthemum. I was not even going to try to like fully draw a chrysanthemum on my own. They're just so dense in terms of the petals, and there's just so many petals that I only ended up doing one of them, and I just copied it over a bunch of times, because you were never going to see the whole flower anyway, so it felt a little like pointless to do a bunch of complex flowers and then hide them in her hair and all of that stuff. And then you have the chrysanthemum kind of in the bottom that pokes over the edge of her sweater, which I thought was a nice touch to kind of make the flowers look a little more like the whole drawing. And here I'm resizing the sketch of the hair because I thought that it would be fun to have the sort of messy, loosely shaded values on top of the hair to make it really look like messy curls, and that was kind of the effect I was going for. And here I am putting in this bright, like, canary yellow. I love it. What's really funny is I hated yellow growing up. Like, I actually got in trouble with my art teacher because I said that yellow sucked. And she was like, we don't say mean things like that. And I'm like, it's a color. It has no feelings. And she made me write, like, an apology letter. It was the dumbest thing. But I hated yellow. Like, I thought it was the worst color to ever exist. But as I get older, it's kind of growing on me. It's a very cheerful color. And I think part of the problem is, like, I thought that certain colors of yellow could be really obnoxious. Because, I mean, they can. So I think I was always just sort of basing it on the color palettes of elementary schoolers, which is not a great thing to base it on, but when you're a kid, you have preferences, and, you know, it happens. So here I was kind of trying to decide if I wanted her to have brown hair or blonde hair, and I just decided to go in with this brown just because it would be a stark contrast to the white, and it would be really easy to fill in all the gaps, and then I would be able to go back and erase parts of the skin that I had missed and clean up the edges and just get the hair looking really nice and defined, even though I do miss a spot, which really irritates me watching it back. I do fill it in later, but I miss the spot. I think it's coming up here, yes, there it is, that little tail that I miss, and it makes me so crazy. So, you know, these are the things that keep me up at night. But I wanted to add some little strokes at the bottom to make the edge look a little more realistic, and I used the green of the leaves for her eyes because I thought that was a nice touch. But here I am experimenting with blonde because I thought it was a little more in keeping with the yellow theme of the flower, but also I just really kind of thought maybe it would suit her. And I really wanted to kind of keep a little more with the flower, but I thought maybe the brown was like the inside of the flower, but it felt like it was straying a little far, so I was kind of leaning towards the blonde for that reason. And I posted a poll on Instagram of whether or not her hair should be brown or blonde, and only 5 people voted, and 3 of them voted for blonde, so I was like, okay, that's enough for me. And here I am adding some texture and color to her sweater because I thought it would be interesting to not have just like a flat color. So I added a little bit of texture, like it's a ribbed sweater, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it, actually. I think this sweater is actually really charming. Don't think I could wear it because yellow looks terrible on me. It makes me look really sick, which is maybe why I didn't like it as a child. But I think it's a really kind of cute color, but I thought the orange was showing through a little too much. So I added a color screen of that yellow back over the top and then brought down the opacity to just kind of homogenize the color of the sweater a little more and make it a little less orangey. Because when you look at the flowers, there's orange in them, but you don't really see the orange at the forefront. So here I am shading her skin, and I actually decided to do something a little different. I decided that I was actually going to take, like, so many people's advice and use complementary colors to shade. So I actually picked out my skin tone and then went to the opposite end of the little wheel to get the opposite hue. And I really liked how it turned out, so I ended up doing it for the other piece, the next one, which is Middle Mist Camellia, which, if you don't know what that flower is, I didn't either, because I found it out through Gabby Hanna's Vines, where one of her Happy Camper Vines, she has the camper where the camp guide or person, I don't know, I never went to camp, she says to everyone, she goes, okay, great, everyone, if you were a flower, what kind of flower would you be? And it goes to the Happy Camper character, and she goes, I'd be a Middle Mist Camellia because no one knows I exist. And that just cracked me up, so it's been one of my favorite flowers ever since, because that vine cracked me up so much. But yeah, here I am adding a lip color, and for some reason I just wasn't liking how intense they were, so I ended up bringing down the opacity, and I liked how that looked a little better. It felt a little more balanced with the face, especially because I was going for a pretty natural look. Now, I do want it to look like she's wearing eyeliner and eyeshadow because my reference was, and I liked my reference and I thought she was pretty, so I tried. And then here I'm adding some of that orange onto the face in the form of little freckles, and I thought these turned out so cute. I love little freckles, and I'm so glad that I finally found a brush that I really like that does freckles in a convincing way, so I like it. And here I'm still going back and forth with the blonde and the brown, but I went in and I shaded her eyes, and I gave a little bit of a life to them, and then I actually went, I think here into the line art layer to add a little bit of that shine and to make it look a little more like it went over the pupils. I started to add a background of green, and there I am finally fixing the mistake. I caught it, you guys. But I wanted to add a background of green, in part because I wasn't sure what hair color I was doing yet, because I hadn't had the results of the poll yet. So I went in and I filled in this circle with dark foresty green, but I go back and changed that. I think I just went with that because I was like, oh yeah, it's the background color of the picture, but it just kind of threw off the balance of the whole picture, so I go back and change it. But it was helpful for coloring in the eyes because having the differing values was really important. And then I think at this point I started to do the flowers. Yes, I did. So I thought that I would do the flowers kind of in a realistic coloring first, and then I would go in and kind of soften the colors like I did for the Delphinium belladonna flowers in the Delphine redraw, where I did the flowers in the color that they came in, and then I kind of pushed them to the background by making them lighter and blend more with the background. So that was what I wanted to do here as well. Actually, I don't remember if I did the Delphinium belladonna flowers in the right color scheme first. I think I did. I don't remember now. Don't fact check me on that, apparently. But I think what's really fun about having the direct reference is that you can really pull a lot of those colors directly from the flower next to it, which I thought was really fun. And of course it's a little cheesy because then I have the right colors, but I did use some layer functions to add a little more depth to the flowers, and I really liked how they turned out. I thought that they just looked really cute. And at this point I had the hair up because I thought it would help me kind of detect the edges of the flowers, and here I am lightening them up, which I think they look really cute still. And what I did with the Delphinium belladonna background is I actually went and I blurred the reference photo. And I thought it looked so cute that I decided to do it again, and I'll probably do a variant of that for each of them. And then at this point it was decided that she would be a blonde. So I went ahead with the blonde, and I was really kind of loving how it turned out. I think I was worried that it would be a little too homogeneous, but with the different tones and how her hair is a little more muted and her sweater just pops so much, I just think it ended up looking really nice and smooth and homogeneous in a good way. It didn't look like it was too samey, but it all kind of flowed together. And I really liked it, and I thought it turned out really cute. But because I know it was almost a half and half vote for people who wanted to see her as a brunette, I did end up using the blonde shading layer to go in and add the same shading to the brown and just do a little touching up so that if you want to see her as a brunette, you can also see her as a brunette. I just didn't put as much time into the brunette hair into perfecting it, but I think that this blonde version of her just turned out so cute. So I'm so happy with how Kristin Chrysanthemum turned out, and I hope that you like her too. I just think that she's very precious, and I think that it really is fitting with the flower and its very summery and bright vibe. So I hope that that comes across, and I hope you enjoy seeing some more of my flower girls, and I will definitely be doing one next week as well. I will try to mix it up, but I have committed to doing 18 of these drawings, so I will try and do a couple of different videos in between so that you're not just watching me do girls based on flowers. I'm definitely going to show all of them in a video, but I will try to do other videos in between. I hope that was clear. Anyway, that is all that I have for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you have a good morning, evening, afternoon, nighttime, time of day, a good Thanksgiving if you are living in the United States. And if you would love to drop a subscribe, I would much appreciate it. A like and a comment would also be appreciated. The likes just because, you know, it gives me validation as a person, and the comments because it helps me engage with you, and I like engaging with you, and I'm needy, give me attention. I'm sorry, guys. So, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you continue to enjoy this weekend and everything that goes into it, and if you live in the United States, tell me something you're grateful for in the comments down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.